Okay, so let's give users the ability to edit their own account. So we're going to create a page and we'll link it up here. So when a user goes to their account, they can hit edit and then they'll be prompted to modify their data, update their profile picture, and so on. So let's start by building out the template and the basic URLs and views here. So we'll go into our users app, we'll go into templates, and let's create a new template called profile_form. So in here, we'll just extend the main template, create the basic block tags. So we'll just do extends main.html. And we'll go down here. Let's create the block tags here. So we'll just do block content. And then end block content. Close that out. Okay, so let's prompt some kind of message here. So we'll just say edit account. And let's create a basic form here. So we won't actually output all the form fields. This will be done by a model form. So we'll just set the basic tags up and we'll go from there. So we want to set the method. That's going to be a post method. And then we'll set the action. And this is going to point to a URL that we have not created yet. So this will point to edit-account. So that's what we'll call the URL. Okay, so in here, let's create that input field. So we'll just do input, close this out here. And this is going to be a submit form. So we'll just do type, and then that's going to be submit. And then the value, this will just say submit. So we'll just keep it simple. So we will throw in that CSRF token here. So just do CSRF_token. And then we'll leave the rest for the model form to handle. So let's fix up that spacing here, and let's go to the views now. So in the views under user account, let's just create a view called edit account. So this will be a function-based view. We'll do edit account. I don't know why I spelt it that way. Well, I guess that actually works. Never mind. I thought I misspelt it. So we'll throw in request. Underneath request, we'll just return, render, and we're going to pass in request and render out that new template. So we'll go into users /profile_form.html. Okay, so we also want to restrict this to only logged in users. So in theory, a user wouldn't be able to modify this account anyways because they have to be logged in, but we don't want them even hitting this endpoint. So we'll just go ahead and add in that login required decorator, and let's add in a context dictionary. So context, let's go ahead and create that empty dictionary, and let's pass that into the render method. So I just want to get things prepped here. So we have our template, we have our view, and we just need a URL here. So in this URL, let's create a new path, and let's just call this edit account, edit-account, and then we'll pass in the view. So we need that closing forward slash, and then we'll go into views.edit-account, and then the name will simply be edit account. So that's how we referenced it in that form. So we need to make sure that's consistent, and let's add in that trailing comma. Okay, so let's go into our account page and let's link this up so we can see the template. So inside of account.html, we want to go to that edit button here. So let's go to the edit button and let's change this href tag. So we'll just do, or href property. So we'll point that to URL, and we're going to edit-account. Okay, so let's take a look here. We'll save everything, make sure all the pages are saved or all the files, and let's check this out. So I need to refresh that. We'll hit edit, and there we go. So that's the base template that we needed. And what I want to do next is actually build out the model form. So we're going to create the model form for a user. And in this case, we are actually going to modify the profile and not the user model. And then we're going to have to modify our signals too. So I'll get to that in a second. So we'll go into forms.py and let's create a new form here. So we're going to have to import our profile model. So we'll just do from, if I can spell that, so from.models import profile. Okay, so we got the profile, and just underneath our user creation form, we'll just do a class here, and we'll say profile form, and then we'll inherit from model form. So I already have model form imported right here. So that's why I did that originally when we were still working with our user creation form. So we inherit from model form, and we'll set the class meta, and we need to pass in the model. So this is going to be profile. which we just imported, and the fields will, for now, let's just set this to underscore all like that. So I think that's going to be good at this point. So let's take this model form now, and let's inherit this, or let's add this into our view here. So we need to go to the top here. We want to import that. So we already have the from forms here. So we'll just add that import, and then let's render this out before we process it. So we'll just do form, and that's going to be set to profile form. So let's pass that into the template. Okay, that looks good. So we pass in our form. So now in the template, we can go ahead and just output this form. So we'll worry about styling or at the end. So we'll just render out that form. We pass in the post request. At this point, we're not processing it in the view. We just want to see it. So let's make sure everything's good. And there we go. So there is our profile form. So a bunch of links here. So if anything, let's just loop through and output it the way that I like to do things. Or actually, we'll just use the dot as underscore p. So this will just wrap paragraph tags around each input field, and it'll make it look a little bit better. So that looks more neat. Now, before we actually continue this, we have a slight issue with our user and profile model. So not an issue, but something we have not finished up. So in here, we can see our username, our name, email, all that kind of basic information about our profile. Now, remember that our profile is almost supposed to be like a snapshot of our user. So in order to actually edit our user, so we have our user here, we are not actually going to render out a form for a user. We're simply going to render out content, or we're simply going to edit our profile, and this by default will edit our user. So if we want to edit our username here, so let's say we want to change my name to Dennis Ivanov like that, what's going to happen here is we're going to submit this profile form, and the profile form will update my user. So that's how we're going to modify it. It's all going to be from the profile form. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So what we need to do here is we need to go into our signals again, and we need to add in another function. So we'll go into signals.py, and in here, I'm going to create a function that's going to edit my user. So we'll just call it update user. So just above delete user, it's going to look actually a lot like this one. So let's go ahead and create the function. We'll call this update user, and we're going to pass in sender, pass in instance, and we'll throw in created just to destructure all those, and we'll pass in kwarg, so keyword arguments. Now in this function, what I want to do is first get the profile. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that signal. So we're going to take post save here. So we'll just do post underscore save. So after our profile is updated, we want to update the user. So we'll do post save dot connect. Okay, what did I do there? Okay, post save dot connect, and we are going to trigger the update user function, and the sender in this case is now going to be the profile. So the profile will send it. So anytime the profile is updated, we're going to trigger the update user method, and what this is going to do is this will update the actual user. So we'll have to get the profile, and this is going to be instance. And from the instance, we can get the user, so we can go into profile.user. So remember earlier on, we were able to get the profile from the user by doing, let's see, where was that? Request.user, somewhere in here. So we went to request.user.profile, but because it's a one-to-one relationship, we can go both ways. So we can get the profile, and then we can also get the user from that. So at this point, what we need to do is write a condition. So we're going to do if created, and this has to be this way, and I'll explain in a second. So if created is equal to false, then we can actually create the user profile here, or update the user profile. So we'll just do user.first underscore name, and that's going to be set to profile.name. So the profile was saved, so this calls after the save factor. So after the profile is saved, we now have the modified data, so that's why we can update the user. So we'll just do user.username, and this is the key part here, and then we can just update that with the profile.username. So after that, we can also do user.email, and this is simply going to be profile.email. So we're just updating all of those fields right there. So now we can just call user.save. So this is why we had to check the created method. We do not want to call this if this is the first instance of the profile. So if the profile is created for the first time, what will happen here is when a user is created, we have this method right here that creates a profile. So this signal will be triggered. So the profile will be created and the user is created. Now, if the user is created and we create a new profile, what will happen here? Well, this signal will actually be triggered. But if this is the first instance, we just want to ignore this, because if we don't, if we take this like that and backspace it, what will happen here is the user save method will be triggered. Then we're going to trigger this signal again, and then this signal will be triggered again and again, and it will go into an infinite loop, which we would call a recursion error, I believe. So we want to make sure that this is the first instance of this creation, and that's what we did up here. So, or up here. So now we simply modify the user anytime a profile is updated. So let's check this really quick before we finish up that form. So I'm going to do this from the admin panel, and I'm actually going to delete these users because they could give us an issue. They have a bunch of incomplete data. So if you happen to have these users too, let's go ahead and clear these. So we'll go into profiles, and remember, if we delete a profile, now the user will be deleted because of our delete signal. So this will delete the user, and then it goes the other way around. If we delete a user, the profile will be deleted. So let's go into profiles. Let's take Dennis 1 or Dennis 3, 4, and 1 and 2. And then Dennis, Ivy, and John Doe actually have proper information, so we'll keep those. Let's go ahead and clear those. And let's say we want to update John Doe. So let's change the username. Let's just say this is John Does. So we'll just put an E at the end. And I'll just zoom in here. I realize it might be pretty zoomed out. So if we save this, let's go into our user now. Now we see John Does updated. So the username was updated. If we changed any of the name information, that will now update my users. So that means that from this form, once a user goes to edit here and they submit this, their information will actually be updated in the user too. So that's why we needed to create that, just to ensure everything's being updated. So let's actually process this form. So the first thing is I don't want the user in here. So I don't want to actually display that. A user should not be able to change what user they're connected to. So let's go into my models here, and let's see, we'll go into where the model forms, and let's go ahead and actually list out all the fields that we want. So we'll just make a list here, and in here, because there might be fields that we don't want, we'll just go through the model. So let's scroll up here. So we want the name, email, username, location, bio. So basically everything except for the user. So let's go ahead and just output those. So name, email, and username. We'll just go one by one. Name, email, username, and after username we have location. Then we have our bio, our short intro. So bio, short intro, and then profile picture. So bio, short underscore intro. Then we have profile picture, so profile underscore image. And let's just bring this down here. So profile image, and we'll continue from here. What else do we have in the model? So profile image, social GitHub, social Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So let's just output all of these. So now we have our social GitHub. I'll just copy and paste these. So I'll just bring these down here. Social LinkedIn. Social Twitter. So I'll just paste that. And social YouTube and social website. So in forms here. Social YouTube and social website. Okay, so we have all the form fields, so we just needed to modify that. So if I refresh this, now we only see the information that we want. Now to actually process this is going to be very easy. We're just going to process that post request, and we also want to update our profile picture, so we are sending form data. So let's go to the form really quick, and let's set the ink type here. So ink type, that's going to be multi-part form data. So mine just autofills here, multi-part / form - data. So just like that, ink type, and we can get rid of that. So now we know this form can send form data. Then we'll close out our signals, close out our models, and let's go into the views and let's process this. So inside of edit, we'll go ahead and check the method. So if request dot method, if this is equal to post, let's go ahead and process this. So we'll just set the form. That's going to be profile form. So profile form, and we're going to pass in request dot post, and we want to pass in request dot files. So we're processing that image, and then we need to actually set the instance here. So we want to know what profile we're updating. So we'll just do instance, and that's going to be set to the user here. So let's get that user. We'll just do profile. That's going to be request.user.profile. So we're just going to edit this profile, the logged in user. So throw that in, and then we just want to continue processing this. So all we're going to do is check another condition. So we'll just say if form dot is underscore valid. Let's just save it, and that's going to take care of everything. So form dot save. So we have a signal that's going to update our user. So when we update a profile, we submit that data, we pass in the image too, so request dot files, and that needs to be plural. So we'll make sure to add an S there. We pass in that form data and we save it, and let's just do return redirect, and we want to send the user to their account. So we'll just say account like that. I believe that was the URL. So we're just simply redirecting a user. So let's go ahead and test this. So we'll go back to this form. Let's go ahead and go into account now. Let's just refresh the page. If I hit edit, this should fill in my information. I forgot one thing. So let's go ahead and do instance. So we need to pass this in, and this needs to be set to the profile. So we need to pre-fill those fields with our user information. So I'll save that. And let's say we want to change our picture. So let's just modify this. So we'll just say choose file, and I have some pictures in here, so let's just use that default. Let's say I want to update it to this one for some reason. We'll update the name, so Dennis Ivanov, and we'll just say updated. Submit that, and we're back in our user account, and my information is updated. Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. So at this point, let's just revert this, and we will go back to the original picture. So I'll select that, and now the form is working. So what I want to do is actually register a user and log them in and redirect them to that page. So we'll just do log out, and let's quickly go into the register page, and we want to go into the view for this route here. So we'll go in here. So let's see, login or register user. Instead of redirecting the user to the home page or that profiles page, let's redirect them to edit-account. So when a user first creates their account, they're going to be prompted to modify their information. So let's try this. So we'll go ahead and refresh this. We'll go into sign up, and let's see. So we're just going to call this person Sam. So we'll just say Sam Piper. We'll just do Sam at email.com, and then we'll just do Sam Piper for the username. I'll just add in some kind of password here. So we'll just go through this, confirm that password, and sign in. So now that I'm signed in, I'm redirected to that user account. Perfect, I can close out that message. Now Sam can update his information. We can modify some data here. Once we save this, Sam will be redirected to his account. So this information should be updated. So the last thing I want to do is just edit this page here. So we really don't have a template for this. I do have one template for a form, and that's it. So if we go in here, inside of our templates file in root directory, or in the root directory, let's go ahead and take this form template. So that should actually be in your resources folder if you don't have that, or if you haven't added this template yet. So go into dev search theme, and let's go to form template. So it's basically going to give us a simple, like a wrap around our form here. So we also want to style our fields, so we'll do that too. So with form template, let's go ahead and just grab everything from main right here, all the way to the closing main tag. Let's copy this. Do not delete this because we'll use this a few times. So let's go into our profile form. Let's paste this down here, and let's just update our fields here. So we'll take out that title. Let's take in the method and the action and ink type, and we'll just go ahead and add this to the form below. So this is going to be a simple form. So let's just update this. Let's take out that method. We'll just paste this in over it. Whoops, accidentally scrolled. So now we have the class of form, the post method, action, everything looks good. This is now in that styled form. And we're just going to take out all these fields. So let's take out all these input fields except for that submit button. So we'll get rid of everything here. Let's pass in the CSRF token into form. And then we'll just go ahead and delete this. And we'll just loop through the fields and output those. So inside of the form tag, it starts and closes right here. Let's just do for field in form. For field in form. And let's just close that. So we'll just do an end for. And let's just output each field. And I actually shouldn't have deleted one of those fields so I can see it. But let's go back to that profile. So I'll save this really quick. And let's go to that profile template or the form template. So I just want one of these fields. So let's copy that. Let's bring that in here. And we're going to remove that input. And that will just be the field. So just output the field here. And for this value, we'll just do form.label. Form.label. And that should be good up until this point. So let's see. So if I refresh that, that looks a lot better. For the back button, we just want to update that. So if we are on the edit account page, let's send the user back to their account. So where is that back button? So right here, we have that link. We'll set this to the URL here. So we'll just do the URL tag. So URL, and we'll just say account. And for the actual fields here, I want to style these two. So the label for some reason is not showing up. So what happened here? Form, oh, field.label. So field.label. Okay, that looks better. So to actually style these, we'll do what we've done a few times already. We'll go back into forms.py. So in our app, the model form, and let's just take this init method right here. Let's copy all that from the user creation form, and we're going to loop through all those fields and simply put the class of input to use our styling. So we just need this profile form. So we're just going to update the super method. So we'll just do profile. And now we are looping through each field, updating the class attribute, and that should style it. So let's see what's going on here. So there we go. Our form looks good. A user can go in here, update their information, hit back, go to their account, and that is it. So that's it for the edit account video. What we're going to go into next is giving the user the ability to actually add their projects here. So we're going to go into projects, and then we'll go into skills. So we're going to do full CRUD operations for these. So you can delete projects, add, and edit.